Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Conservation Stories. Conservation Stories is a podcast brought to you by the Sandhill Area Research Association, and I'm your host, Tillery Timmons-Sims, and I have a lovely new friend, Julie Hodges, with me today to talk about one of my favorite places, the Ranching Heritage Center, which it's the National Ranching Heritage Center, but it is a museum at Texas Tech. If you have not been, it's amazing. And Julie is part of why it is so amazing. So, Julie, give us a little bit about you and your background, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, I am currently the Helen DeVitt Jones Endowed Director of Education at the National Ranching Heritage Center. I've been there for 12 years. In February, it'll be 13. I'll start my 13th year at the National Ranching Heritage Center. I've been an informal educator for my entire career, minus a brief stint at a local newspaper in Lamesa, Texas, which was a lot of fun.
I know where that is.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to work in Lamesa. I'm a Texas Tech grad. Undergrad in range, wildlife, and fisheries management. Graduate school was in heritage management at museum science. And I really love getting kids to go outside. I really love getting people to think about our heritage. So not just the past, but what it means to us today and how it guides us in the future. And then also about this place where we live, the Great Plains, which is a magical, wonderful place that requires you for sometimes to stop and take a minute and look at what's going on, whether it's in the soil, in the plants, or in the people. This place has so much to see and so much to learn. Getting kids outdoors and adults to think about where we are and what that means and how we got here is just magical to me.
That's amazing. So did you grow up here?
Born and raised in Lubbock. Went to Texas Tech. And,
so you're
through
native.
And through. Lubbock girl. Yes.
Southern High Plains girl.
That's right.
Yep. Well, that really does give you a heart for the people around you and your neighbors. And we are often an underrated and overlooked place. And our organization has spent a lot of time in the last 2 years just bringing awareness to other parts of the country and to other even places in the world where they're relying on some things that we do and grow here and they don't know it.
Oh, I love that. What a wonderful mission. And we are new good friends because our mission is very similar.
Yes. Yeah. We want people to know about our area, and then we want the people in our area to value what we have so that we steward it well.
I love that. Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, for people who have not been to the Ranching Heritage Center, if you live in Lubbock, it's a must-see, in my opinion. And
that's right.
It is something to do. If you complain that there's nothing to do in Lubbock and you haven't been to the Ranching Heritage Center, you haven't done everything there is to do in Lubbock. So tell us a little bit about it, because it really is an amazing place. But don't talk about the exhibits, the special exhibits yet.
Okay.
We'll save that for later.
So the National Ranching Heritage Center, we are on the campus of Texas Tech University, but we're on the edge and we have free parking. So those of you that are local, don't worry about parking. We've got our own lovely parking lot. You can come see us 7 days a week, free admission. We're only closed on Texas Tech holidays. So you can check our website or our social media to follow us along and make sure we're open on a day you might want to come. And we have 7 galleries in our beautiful museum. And then the real jewel is outside. We sit on 27 acres, and the back 19 acres is our historical park, which features 55 structures brought from ranches all over, put in chronological order from 1788 all the way to present day one of our newest structure in the timeline was used up until 2003. So you can literally walk through the history of ranching. And then you can come inside and think about contemporary ranching issues through our wonderful exhibits that is put together by an amazing team of folks who really want to tell those stories. We are in the business of telling real stories about real ranches. And we're also in the business of letting folks know that ranching is not something that occurred in the past. It or only occurred in the past. It's still happening today. It's if you eat a steak, you are supporting a rancher somewhere.
That's right.
And it's really important to know where our food comes from. And it's also important to understand why this amazing place that we live in, that we both love so dearly, provided the perfect environment for ranching to occur and as a way for people to make a living and take care of the land hand in hand.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we do talk often about what we're seeing in this conversion back to grassland in so many places, and that's going to continue to happen. And it's important for us to learn those lessons from the past.
That's right. That's right.
We don't have that history to know how things were managed in the past and what we can and we should do that they did great, and what we shouldn't do because it might not have been the best thing.
That's right. And what grass does for our ecosystems and our biological communities, it's amazing. It's so amazing what grass means to, whether it's migratory birds, whether it's soil systems, whether it's people trying to find a way to make a living. Grass is the key element.
Yeah, it is amazing.
If you break it down, all ranchers are grass farmers. And
right.
Just want that grass to grow.
That's right. Exactly. That's exactly right. That's right. We do have an amazing history, and I think it's easy for us because, there's kind of this divide when you go like south of Lubbock. You don't see it as much. It's more row crops. The further north you go, historically, it's been less row crops. Although I would say that there is way more cotton there now than there has been in the past. But I've definitely seen a difference as you make that transition north. We moved from south of Lubbock to north and west of Lubbock, and it was the first time I had seen people put their cows out, winter them on their wheat, or even during the season, here's some over here, So, they're like ranching and they're farming, or they're, contracted with someone who's ranching and they're, making a little money on the side with their, leasing out their land for grazing. And
right. Well,
great.
And ranchers are hard to see too, right? They don't have a giant factory or a smokestack out there that you can spot from miles away. We work with the president of our Ranching Heritage Association board, actually ranches outside of Tahoka, so just 30 miles south of Lubbock. They're all over, and they're kind of like the Great Plains in that you really got to look if you want to find them.
Yeah, it's really true. That's really true. I think it's important, even more than ever, for us to make people aware of the impact that our ag industry, whether it's proteins or commodities, that it has a huge impact on our everyday life in Lubbock.
That's right. It sure does.
So I love the outdoor piece of the museum and the church.
Yes, Trinity Mission.
The church was in Brownfield, and I grew up in Brownfield, and I remember for many years, I thought, I cannot believe that I was never aware that church was there. That is the most beautiful building in all the town. And how have I missed it all my life? And it wasn't until I went to the museum and saw it there that I realized I wasn't crazy. They moved it into Brownfield. It hadn't been there the whole time.
That's right. It had a traveling history.
Yeah.
Some great ties. Clifford Jones of the Spur Ranch. He and we know his name at Texas Tech very well as well. What a great leader. But he swept the floors of that church on Sunday mornings right after it was built. And I just think the
Well,
people are
yeah.
what make those buildings
Yes.
come to life.
Mm-hmm.
We love finding the stories of the people who interacted in those buildings every day or passed through, because there are so many amazing stories and opportunities to share our heritage and what really the first settlers in this part of the world, what their challenges were, how they faced them, and if they were successful, because some were not. And that's an important
Yes.
part of
Yeah.
this story
It's very
also.
true. And, because I didn't realize that we had a Quaker settlement here before anything else, and the cemetery is still there. Those have
Yes.
got to be by far the oldest graves in a wide area around here. I mean, like, they were there well before the rest of us were.
They were. The Quakers were not afraid to venture out and settle really far away
Right.
from everything.
Right. Yeah. But then I was like, oh, that's why maybe we have Quaker Road. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. I've always wondered about that. But that's an interesting part. Do you guys ever, do you pull from the Southwest Collection
We
information from
do.
there?
We do.
Another
So
great resource.
we were set up at the same time as
Okay.
well, with the museum and the Southwest Collection in mind. So we
Nice.
collect the things, and Southwest Collection collects the documents of the things. So we have buildings from the Matador Ranch. They have files, records, log books from the Matador Ranch. So we have a very great relationship with them, and we
That's
are
neat.
working together to preserve the full story.
Yeah, that's really great. I've been there recently and visited with them about just, how much of that story will be lost because it's all digital now. If we don't find a way to preserve that, in some form, what we have on Instagram or Facebook will be kind of, we won't.
That's right.
All it'll take is for Instagram to say we're closed, we're gone, and everybody's lost all of those memories.
That's right. The world of preserving things in perpetuity is ever changing,
That's what I
ever
just said.
evolving.
Okay.
And it's a really great way to make our curators scratch their heads and figuring out what format is best to save this.
Oh, my
And now,
goodness.
what do we
Right.
save? And what do we have space for? What can we care for forever? So
Yeah.
it's a big challenge
Yeah.
to keep up with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to shift gears for just a moment.
Okay.
And in my estimation, the best series of books ever written are the Hank the Cowdog books. And you can disagree with me. I do love C.S. Lewis. I love me some Chronicles of Narnia and Lord of the Rings. I do. But if you're from this area and you want to know somebody that understands your life, if you grew up on the farm, and you want someone else to understand our culture and what we think and how we think, no one's better than Hank.
That's right. Nobody's
Nobody.
better than Hank. I was
Nobody's
raised on
better.
the Hank the Cowdog audiobooks in the 80s. We
there-
had our cassette tapes, and that was every road trip for
yes.
forever.
Absolutely. You can't. Okay, and that is the thing people need to understand is you really do need the audio. This is a book that you should definitely buy. And what are there, 80? I don't even know how many we're up to now.
I think 83 is coming out this year, so up to 83 in the series. So you have no shortage of reading material.
No. And every one of them are hilarious. My very favorite quote about Hank is how he is flatulent in many languages.
It's an important skill to have in the world today.
So I love that you created a Hank's exhibit. It's just amazing. And you said a while ago, we're talking about how important grass is. And one of the greatest grass exhibits, it is, I've taken my nieces and nephews there, and then I have gone, I've taken several people there, and I've gone by myself just to see it.
Thank
because
you.
I just love it. It's amazing.
Thank you for doing that. Well, it's been the honor of my career to get to work with John Erickson and Hank the Cowdog, and to partner with that brand. to tell a story that anyone can understand. It really started with I grew up a Hank fan.
Yeah.
So when I received the position that I'm in now at the Ranching Heritage Center, I had an excuse to call one of my childhood heroes. And I called John Erickson. And he said, I happened to be thinking about the Ranching Heritage Center. He had done things with us many years ago, but hadn't in a while. And we came up with the idea that he should come do a concert on our back patio.
I was there for that with my children. Mm-hmm.
It was so much fun.
Yes.
And his concerts are amazing.
They're amazing.
For those of you who have not heard the audiobooks, there are songs that Hank and other characters sing.
Yes.
And they are very clever and very silly.
Shameless plug. But my son spent a week on his ranch at a riding course and is actually background for one of those songs. He's the chicken, get the chicken guy. Mm-hmm.
I love it. My favorite song is Rotten Meat. I love it when you can get an entire crowd of people of all ages screaming the words rotten meat. Yes. I think that's genius.
Yes.
And too much fun. But so John came and did this concert with all the fun songs. And it was 4:00 on a Tuesday because that's when he happened to be available. And over 1,000 people showed up. We ran out of chairs. We had grossly underestimated the sound system that we needed. But it was a crowd full of smiling faces that I got to see standing behind the stage, of people just looking at him in awe, big smiles, and multiple generations, which is a huge thing. You had grandma with her grown son, and he's holding a baby in his arms because he wants that baby to hear Hank the Cowdog. After that concert, John and I kind of looked at each other and were like, this seems to be a good thing we got going on here. It's a good place. And he mentioned that years ago, he had written a series of Hank books that weren't the typical Hank books where Hank is solving a case on the ranch, but it's more of Hank teaching about ranching. He had done it because he had gone and done school programs all over the place. And he always peeked in the library at an elementary school to see what books they had on ranching, cowboying, that kind of thing. And he was disheartened to find that most of them were written by someone who visited a ranch one day and not someone who lived it. So he wrote a book about ranching for adults, and he told me nobody read it. But so he thought he'd give Hank a chance to talk about ranching, and he created what's called the Ranch Life series. And it started out as 3 books where Hank explains the business of ranching and livestock, and then he explains cowboys and horses, and then he explains wildlife, and then he goes into weather and the seasons on a ranch. And then the 5th book in the series is called Prairie Fire. And Mr. Erickson wrote that after the 2017 fires devastated the Panhandle, including his ranch. He lost everything.
His home. Lost his
home.
Everything.
Some animals, all of those things. And it was heartbreaking all at the same time. And so Hank talks about what prairie fires are. John went on a mission to learn everything he could about prairie fires, both the history of them, the use of them currently as management tools for ranchers, and then wildland fires and what it means when a wildfire starts and what causes that. So Hank dives deep, and he did it in a way that anybody could understand, which was really fun. And he said, why don't you have a look at these books, Julie, and tell me what you think. And I went home and I read them, and there's a quiz at the end of every Hank book. So I gave my husband the quiz, and
I love it.
I was so excited that I read all 3 of them. And I called John the very next day and I said, I think I know what we can do. Why don't we see if we can get these to kids in schools? Why don't we make it a part of their life at school? So we raised funds. We got all 5 books published and out in the world. And we got grants to give away 5,000 copies of each book to Region 17 schools, which is around the Lubbock area. And we gave away 5,000 books a year, so a total of 25,000 books. And then we created amazing educational standards aligned activities in science and social studies and reading with the help of some amazing teachers and content experts. And we made it all free. The books cost a very nominal amount of money, but all of the lesson plans, games, and things that we created were available for free. And we started training teachers. And to date, I've trained I would say near 3,000 teachers. We've given away
Oh,
about
wow.
45,000 books total, and I don't know how many education guidebooks with all the lesson plans and activities in there. And around that same time, we were hearing something interesting from our visitors at the museum. So I'm in the world of schools. I'm doing these books. Our average visitor doesn't have much interaction with them, but they were
Right.
coming in, and as they left, after they walked through our amazing galleries and park, they would ask our guard, "So what is a ranch?" And we thought, "Oh no, we've done a good job of talking about the art and the history and this beautiful park,
Oh,
but
wow.
nowhere did we specifically set out to define exactly what is a ranch." So I said, well, John Erickson has done that already. What if we took these ranch life learning books and turned them into an exhibit that could answer the question, what is a ranch? And that began a journey that led to the creation and opening of the Cash Family Ranch Life Learning Center, where Hank the Cowdog answers the big question, what is a ranch? So it's a really fun place. It was
Yes.
a $10 million project by the time we worked
Wow.
through all the design process and put it together and added on to our building. It's 3,000 square foot of indoor space and half an acre outside, and they're interactive, hands-on
Mhm.
exhibits for visitors of all ages to learn
Mhm.
what is a ranch, how does the weather impact a ranch, why is grass on a ranch, what do these animals on the ranch have to do with cattle as far as wildlife goes,
Right.
what are the cowboys doing there, what kind of tools do
Did
they
they use?
use.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a really fun time bridging the gap between Hank's fictional world and the real world of ranching. Hank is very accurate in his books for the most
Yes.
part. His
Yeah.
pronunciation and spelling could use a little work, but he knows ranching. So we actually, our board members, I would send out a list and say, hey, we're putting together a horse barn and I need 5 bridles, 2 reins, some bits. And people cleaned out their barns and brought us real equipment that they had used, post hole diggers, all these things. And so they're all
Mhm.
on display in a way that kids can touch,
Yes.
see, interact with.
Mm-hmm.
And we created some really fun hands on interactive game tables where they
Yes.
can try to manage a ranch for a year using tools for the land,
Yes.
or they can try to take $1 million and 7,500 acres and see if they can make a ranch profitable in a year. And from there, they really see that,
Yes.
man, ranching is not just some guy riding on a horse looking at cattle. It's far bigger than that. It's a business, it's a way of life, it's part of taking care of the land and
Mm-hmm.
stewarding future generations
Mm-hmm.
and the ecosystem in many
Mm-hmm.
ways.
Yeah.
And also, you can have a little fun because Hank
Mm-hmm.
is guiding you through. So we have his voice
Mm-hmm.
throughout the entire exhibit. We have sculptures of Hank Drover and Pete the Barn Cat. And we tried to build
Yes.
Hank's ranch. So
Yeah.
all of the beloved places you've read about in the book, from the ranch house to the machine shed and horse barn and the cake house, Wolf Creek and the Enchanted
Yes.
Forest, the Cap Rock and the horse pasture, all of those things from Hank's fictional world we built in real life. So folks could come in and have a really good time, be a Hank fan, and learn about ranching at the same time.
So I think it's brilliant. I don't even know any other way. I mean, his books are brilliant.
They are.
He himself is just a treasure to the world,
He
and
is.
and his brain is magnificent. And probably, would you recommend people read the first book before they come, or listen
I
to the
think
first
you could
audio?
do it. I
Or
think
you
you
can do
could
it
do it
without?
either way.
Right.
Read it or come see it. And if you have a good time, then you can pick up a copy right there in the gift shop and take it home to read. They're a lot of fun. And it's a great way to get kids excited and involved. We didn't just create a lesson plan where we ask students to hear a passage and then write an essay. We have a board game that talks about the average day of a cowboy. We have some hands-on STEM lessons where we try to build a windmill that can lift a load and face different wind conditions that they might see out here. So there's so much to do and so much
there's a whole like water exhibit, a hands-on water exhibit outside.
Yeah, there is. That's been a really fun challenge. So we wanted to explore the topic of watershed. That's something that kids sometimes have a hard time grasping. What is a watershed? So we really worked really hard with our amazing landscape architect who helped us with that design portion, where we have a thunderstorm painted in a mural in the background. And then as water comes down, we have hand pumps where kids can pump the hand pumps. And then we have little dams that they can put in, so they can fill up a reservoir, they can let it flow to the creek, they can combine two pumps to see if they could fill a reservoir faster. And for the science minded, they can measure how many gallons per minute their little hands can pump, and it's right next to a solar pump, so they can see how many gallons per minute the solar pump is pumping. And then it's next to a windmill, and they can see how many gallons per minute the wind is pumping at that moment. So it's a great way to explore watershed, but also how do we get water, and what kind of ingenuity do we humans have to get water to the surface, and then how much water does one cow actually need, which is staggering. You know, a mama cow who's expecting a calf needs 30 gallons of water a day. That's a lot of water if you think about it. So we really wanted kids to be able to dive as deep as they wanted to explore through hands-on experiences. Working with educators, I hear all the time that sometimes when they're teaching a lesson, they realize their students don't have any experience to think back on. Maybe they don't have a big travel budget in their family, or they don't, they haven't been exposed to opportunities where they get their hands on something, get wet, get dirty, get muddy, to think about everything from physics to math. Those hands-on experiences really help. So we wanted to make that real life experience something that they can enjoy. And if they accidentally learn while they're playing, then we won.
Yeah. And you have this great section of I cannot remember his name, but he makes the most amazing farm and ranch toys.
Oh yes, we have the Happy Toy Maker.
That's it,
section.
Happy Toy Maker. Oh my goodness, those are the most amazing toys.
We knew the little ones would want to come in, and we do an annual event every day called Ranch Day. We've done it for 50 years, and it's the most fun day of the year. And as we were creating the Ranch Life Learning Center, we would always kind of laugh. And I know this is going to sound terrible, but one of the best parts of Ranch Day is that kids leaving our facility are screaming, crying, and throwing fits. And that means we did our job. They had so much fun, they didn't want to leave. So we love a crying baby leaving our museum, because it means
I have seen those when I've been there. I've seen parents trying to get their kids in the car. Yeah.
And one of the things at Ranch Day every year, besides all the fun hands-on in our historic park, was the Happy Toy Maker would come, and he would set up a little place where kids could play. And I saw them wear holes in their knees because they would crawl on our brick patio with those trucks. So we had to find a way to incorporate that into Ranch Life Learning. We knew the littles would come as well as the older kiddos. So Sally Mae's kitchen and Little Alfred's play yard are dedicated to the little ones. So they can come in the kitchen or cook, or they can go outside and play with a fleet of Happy Toy Maker trucks, pickups, semis, corrals, animals, people. They can run their own little ranching operation right there. And I will tell you, those toys are well loved and very tough. Most of them were donated to us by board members who had purchased them for their children. Their children grew up. And so if you look at all of the Happy Toy Maker toys, they have brands.
Yes, I did notice. I have noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's because those ranches donated them to us when their babies grew up. Yeah, so they've got a whole new life, and the kids adore them. We glue horns back on some longhorns that are out there
I can
very
see that.
frequently.
Sure, sure.
And they play out there, and then they go into Sally Mae's kitchen and they
Yeah.
whip up some amazing platters of wooden food for hours.
And you guys have a water catchment system on
We
right
do.
there that really is I mean it even I was like, oh, I mean, I learned stuff like how much water you're catching there is amazing.
So, around here, we in Lubbock, people say we get 19 inches of rainfall a year. You should have been here that day.
Yeah.
That happens. So it appears really dry, but if you quantify 19 inches of rain on how many gallons that is, that just falls on a little rooftop, it's
Exactly.
an amazing number. So part of the story of ranching is resourcefulness, finding a way to make do when there's not much.
Right.
And capturing rainwater is something that's been done historically we have historic structures that have water catchment systems on them.
Right.
So we thought, well, we're talking about resourcefulness. We have a garden where Sally Mae has her vegetables growing. So that catchment tank harvests water from 2 roofs, and then we use that to keep our vegetable garden going all summer.
Yeah, it's really great. The education that's on there is amazing, and I also love you have this one exhibit that is like a panoramic video of
Yes.
a roundup and a branding and stuff. It's
Oh my
just,
gosh.
I mean, you're just like right there in
That
it.
experience was wild. So we call it the 270-degree theater. So
Okay.
several projectors
Right.
project scenes from ranches all over. And in order to get that footage, we actually traveled with a film crew with their fancy
Oh, I can believe it.
360-degree camera. We went to the 4 Sixes. We went to the Cogdal's Ranch. We went to another ranch in the Panhandle, and we captured footage of gathering happening at the 4 Sixes, gathering happening at another ranch, sorting, vaccinations, horse training at the 4 Sixes.
Yep.
They had us get up at 5 a.m. and join them for breakfast in the bunkhouse. And I got to be the one that asked the cowboys to refrain from using any colorful language, as this will be on display for children. And that's a fun thing to say to a group of guys at 5 a.m. But they played along well. The cattle behaved for us. There was somebody looking out for this video, and we captured real scenes. And I think that's something that most people don't get to see. Our film crew was actually out of Boston.
Wow.
I think their jaws were on the prairie the whole time we were out there. They just couldn't believe what they were seeing and how amazing the processes are, and how cattle are moved. It was just beautiful. And the men and women out there who are working the land and the animals every day. And
the kids.
We just really,
there were
and
some
the kids,
there was like, it was multi-generational. It was.
Yes, it just keeps going. So we thought that was one way we could have you stand in the middle of a ranch and experience just a tiny piece of those things. An interesting thing that one of our educators has heard is somebody asked where we got all that old-timey footage from. And she kindly explained that it was all filmed in 2022 and 2023. And but it's something that folks, they don't realize that that's still happening today. So it's pretty cool to share that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's a hologram of John.
Yes, our orientation theater, John Erickson, welcomes everyone. There's a storybook that flips through, and Hank jumps around and he tells you what to expect and a little bit about his history in the area. So it's fun. We have security headquarters right next door, which is if Hank had an office. It's what we envisioned. So
that's what he thinks.
Artifacts.
That's what he thinks it's like.
That's right. That's right. It's on it's a vast office on the 3rd floor of the complex,
which is actually under
The gas
The
tank.
gas tank.
That's right. Um, and we use that as a classroom space. So every Tuesday we offer Toddler Tuesdays in the Cache
Oh,
Family Ranch Life Learning
awesome.
Center. And then every Saturday throughout the summer, we offer the Ranch Life Summer Series, where we have demonstrations in our outdoor amphitheater. We try to bring livestock of some sort, or some other hands-on person and their
Yeah,
expertise. And
expertise.
we've done everything from working dogs to actual cattle to horses,
Oh, wow.
wildlife, reptiles, all kinds of things out there where kids can come for a couple of hours and have a really up close and personal
Right.
experience with all these amazing people in the industry. So we have a lot of fun out there in ranch life.
That's
Um,
amazing. You know that it really truly is. There really is a lot more to do. I think the hardest part about is trying to figure out where do you find out about everything. You know, I just feel like we don't have this like one single source where everything that's happening is right here. You know,
Right.
and so also to reiterate, it's free.
It's
You don't
free.
have to pay for each one of your kids and then you or what. I mean,
No,
it's just all free. And the
everything we
gift
do, we
shop
try to keep
is,
it that way.
if you need to ever get any kind of Texas really cool gift, that gift shop is amazing.
Or a Hank plush. There's really
There's
and
lots of
Hank
Hank plush.
baseball hats and
Yes.
all the fun
All the
things are in
things.
there.
All the
It's
things.
so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
the whole staff in there has just done such a great job at like I don't think I've ever been to a museum, gift shop that's as well equipped as that one is. Like just the diversity and the quality of things is really great.
We do have an amazing staff. I think every one of us there has a big why in our heart. Why
Yes.
are we here? Why are we
Yeah.
doing this? And I hope that shows through
Yeah.
everything from our clean facilities all the
Oh,
way up
yes.
through retail and exhibit concepts and how we present them.
Yeah.
We really try hard. We really care a lot. We have a board that cares a lot. And we're also supported by the Ranching Heritage Association, which you can become a member of and be the
Okay.
first to know about anything. That association comes up with almost 60% of our total annual budget. So
Oh,
all
wow.
education, all exhibits happen
Okay.
because of the Ranching Heritage Association. So
That's really
if you
great.
want to be the first to know or the first to get an invitation to something we're doing, that's the way to go. But you can also just check our website or follow us on any of our social media outlets. We have a team that's really great at trying to communicate what's going on when and where, and it is a lot. But if you want
Right.
to know what
That's
we're up
great.
to,
Yeah.
we've got it there.
Well, we'll put all of those links and everything in the show notes so people can just go right to you on
Right
all the
to it. Come
socials
check
and
us out.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I hope people will take the time to come and see not just Hank, but all of the really cool houses. Like if it's a nice day and you want to go walk, go
Perfect.
to the Ranching Heritage Center because on that 27 acres, there's just this beautiful winding path with all of this native grasses and everything's identified. And it's so different in there because you've got some man-made like hills and berms and things,
We
so
do.
that it's really it's just a really great unique place to walk.
Yeah, great wildlife roaming around
Oh
our
yeah,
facility, and
big old
all of the
jackrabbits.
trails are ADA accessible. So we even have wheelchairs you can check out if you want to bring grandma, but maybe she doesn't want to walk a mile and a
Right.
half.
Yeah.
You can do that. And then we offer trolley tours throughout the year. So if you want to ride through the park with a guide, we can do that as well. So we try to
It's
cater
amazing.
to any kind of visit you'd like to have. And I always tell people, if you came 30 years ago when you were in third grade, it's time to come see us again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I totally agree because I remember it back then and it is different. It has a full size, huge train, like a train, a full size.
We have a full train and the depot and the
And
rail
the
car house.
depot and like all the cattle, like
Cattle
ramps
cars.
and everything for loading up the cattle.
Yep.
It's amazing. It's a great place. So I pretty grateful to you, Julie, for taking the time.
Oh, thank you for letting me talk about my favorite place in the whole world.
Uh,
Thank you so much.
I can see why it is. And I think if you lived here forever and you haven't been, or if you don't know anything about this area, that is a great place to start. A great
Come
place to
see
start.
us.
Go see you. National Ranching Heritage Center, and all of the links will be provided. Thanks, friends. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you will take the time to go visit them, check them out, check the show notes, and then share the episode with all of your friends that need to also go and go to the Hank the Cowdog exhibit. And if you don't know Hank the Cowdog, we'll also link some information so that we can help you, educate you on Hank the Cowdog. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.